Riggs Eckelberry, great to have you. And sitting next to you from ECT Services and Solutions, Talbot Howard, CEO, founder, and chairman in the clean energy space, and is a licensee of Origin
Exactly.
Clay. You are boots on the ground, or very close to boots on the ground in Malaysia. First,
What we're doing is we're doing deals all over the world where people are enthusiastic. I learned this in the .com. Don't deal with the conservatives and the skeptics.
They're
So
off
early
that.
adopters, Malaysia, China, Thailand. We have Spain, Algeria.
Everybody's
So-
got water.
Right, but the some people care.
California cares.
California cares.
That's where it starts, is California, and this is what we have done together starts it all, and that's
Right.
well, let's talk about that for a minute, because obviously you've got countries that are putting mandates out, and maybe the U.S. should be one of those countries, because we're not mandating I think as strictly as we could. But you look at the state of California. We're about 30 seconds out of a drought, okay? We're already living back to our old ways where we're washing our driveways with water, and we're watering our lawns every 30 seconds.
Yep.
But the bottom line is we are the grocery basket to the rest of the country. And the fact of the matter is, if we don't have clean water or even semi-gray water, the rest of the country is affected by this. So let's talk about the relationship between what you guys are doing together, Riggs.
So Talbot Howard has been working with us for a long time now. He did that original ServPro deal down in
Oklahoma
City. But it was great because it proved that, if you start in disaster relief, that eventually becomes a product because you've proven into the worst conditions. He did that with us. He moved on to do this big Kern County experiment. People who want to see how it really works are showing up, flocking there.
What they see is that we're leading the standards here. What we debuted in California ultimately becomes the new type of regulatory compliance that goes into Washington and other avenues, but everyone sees California as the prodigal child of what we need to have.
How do we look like as a state to the rest of the nation? How are we doing water-wise? I mean, are we blowing it, or are we doing pretty good? Because I got to say, within our little moat here, the citizens of the state of California, we get about a D every year from our politicians. I wonder how things are really going.
Well, in reality, here is that the EPA has kind of become a little bit lax, but still the standards were set here, which everyone else follows. So Texas is coming in here, seeing the opportunity where they're having to be able to charge for a barrel $1. They're charging $3 for a barrel to clean it up.
And this is going back to Riggs' first statement when he got on the air with us a couple of years ago. The oil business is really a water business, right? And that
Well,
proves it.
let's have the acre-foot conversation. Out here in California, San Diego is paying a lot for water at
Because
the
we're a
marginal.
desert.
Well, $1,500 a square foot. That's at the margin. Lowest is $25 a square foot. It's kind of a mix at about $400 or $500.
Well, in 1988, it was $188.
Fine.
Okay.
The Permian right now, $2,000 a square foot in Texas for
That's
that
the Permian
water.
Basin, by the way.
The Permian is the Saudi Arabia of Texas, and they are trucking in water expensively at $2,000 an acre foot, far more than what we're paying in California. So they care.
To get back to your question there, you said, how is California doing?
Yeah.
Well, it's become a showcase because we let this.
no kidding.
It became the standards. So we have people flying in all over the world trying to see exactly what we did here to be able to reduce the cost.
Right.
Okay. What we have here is a very niche technology. It's like the Intel Pentium processor of all computers, okay? But this is the water industry. So if you've got a core technology that can go out there and help reduce the cost, take the heavy load off.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're taking the heavy load off.
Initially, clean it up.
To allow the filter membrane industry to last much longer.
Right.
So if you can give a 10% savings across the board in the industry, that's a game changer. But
I've seen some
we're
of
doing
those,
much more.
Some of those videos you put out on your site, it's like, oh, God, you pulled that out of water?
Yeah.
Just like
Well,
mop.
And then we drink it.
And
Well,
then
but
you
let's
drink
talk
it.
about the technology real quickly, because the technology, as it existed before your brother invented this and before you founded the company, was what? How did those oil companies, and how did anybody clean algae out of water, clean oil out of water, clean ammonia out of water prior to this hydroelectric?
One word, the chemicals are heavily used in the industry, heavily, just barrels and barrels of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your catalytic converter concept.
Well, the whole simple analogy here is that in the 70s, what happened with smog?
Right.
Okay, you had smog becoming very prevailing, people getting cancer, people dying.
Right.
And some ingenious inventors and marketing companies, kind of like what Riggs and I are, came up with the idea of a catalytic converter. It's using noble metals, and it would last 100,000 miles, and it would burn off the NOx, okay, the carcinogenics.
The bad stuff.
Without using chemicals, right?
Good.
It was tested. It was validated. Then it became OEM. And now what? Every OEM in the world has a catalytic converter.
Yeah.
All right, so what if you were part of the founding floor of investing into the catalytic converter? You would have generational wealth.
I think
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So this is the same thing, but we're not cleaning air, we're cleaning water.
Right.
Okay.
And we're providing it in a way where you can put it into multiple verticals, horizontals. There's so many different variations, but we're narrowing it down to understand what makes sense.
And you're selling some of the stuff you pull out of it or not? I mean, do you pull
You can.
anything
Oh yeah, we have that. We have that startup in
gold or
which
something,
is selling the water. They create the water that goes down well
Right.
and kills that rotten egg smelling stuff.
The bacteria.
that makes it makes the oil worth less.
By the way, if you've never heard Riggs on the air with us before, and we talked about this company a number of times because we really wanted to see what it was like to be a CEO of a publicly traded company. They have a proprietary advantage, and it's hydroelectric water treatment.
That's absolutely
and
right.
basically, before your technology, how long did it take to clean ammonia, one of the most difficult compounds to clean out of water? How long did it take? prior to
Terrible
you?
problem because you have these fish ponds full of ammonia,
Yeah.
and you got to go from fish pond to fish pond to fish pond 2 or
Yeah.
3 weeks to get the
Right,
ammonia out.
right.
And of course, we do ours in real time, which
Right.
is 30 seconds, a minute. We're
Really?
done.
Okay, so and you can do it, and it would take what, 3 weeks before?
Exactly.
And you can do it within a minute. That has to be the best proof of concept you've seen so far, right? With what you, I
Exactly.
mean, when you're selling this, like when you first saw this, what was it that moved your needle? Were you a believer from the very beginning, or did you say you can do what?
I wish I would have
Prove it
thought
to
of
me.
this.
Well, to tell you truthfully, I invented applications for hydrogen on demand applications, and the technology that I was working on 15 years ago has morphed into what it is today with Origin Clear.
Right.
I've been working with Nick and all the behind scenes for a long period of time, taking it to the next level. So I understand the basis of it. It's the catalytic exchange technology. That's the reason we're calling it the hydrocatalytic converter. Coin it now, all right?
Yeah.
No one else has done it.
Okay.
This is the application of the future that can be
Okay.
out there,
Right.
and do the same impact of what a catalytic converter did.
Yeah.
So yes, I know the beginning of it, but I also know where the end's going to be. Our technology, we don't use chemicals, but the benefit is that we can reduce the cost of impact that you would use. For example, in sour wells, like we were talking about, wells getting bacteria.
Ew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sour wells.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, it hurts the efficiency of the well. Yeah. So if we have a technology that can basically go in there and reduce their bill from a couple $1,000s per day to maybe $20,
Reduce it so they don't have to clean it up another way, or
without using chemicals.
Right.
They currently use biocide in the injection, and the biocide goes down there and prevents it from going sour.
Right. More chemicals.
We have come up with, Nick and the team,
Right.
I consider us a team, all right?
Yeah.
But we've come up with a novel application that is very sleek and elegant. It's a bolt-on product. It's not a $750,000 Bakersfield machine that you got
Wow.
right there.
Right. Mhm.
It's a $50,000 realistic product. But it replaces the amount of chemicals that they have to use for biocide.
And so after like 3 months, it's break even, pretty much, or whatever,
Maybe
6
two.
months,
Maybe
2 months, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
the reality,
smart.
though, is that can be applied to court. Well, I think there's probably about 1,500 wells just in Bakersfield, maybe a couple 100,000 nationwide.
Yeah.
All right. They all need this. This would increase the efficiency. Okay, so that's one application.
Right.
All right. So
Of
there-
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you keep
many.
inventing stuff over there.
Going back to the hydrocatalytic converter, is it now basically you got to take this on the road. I would assume that it's time to unveil this thing, right?
Right.
Not just on TV and not just in California.
With like
What-
a
what-
host or an MC or something.
No.
Oh, sorry.
It'd be like a truck. It'd be like more like this.
I'll drive the bus. That'd be
Yeah.
fun. The hydro converter bus. Pull in, look.
There you go.
Up front it's stinky. In the back, drink it.
No, you're correct, though. It's about a road show. Okay, we've got to get out there and show all these verticals and horizontals because I just told you a very profitable one. If you can
Yeah.
reduce the bill
Right.
like that, that's game changer. You multiply that out across the world, it's game
It's a
changer.
no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
It really is.
So the other one is basically going towards lake purification. Okay.
All right, so lake
Dead lakes in this
purification
country.
there's a lot
Lake?
of dead lakes. No, there's a lot of dead lakes in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we've actually got a test that's going to be going with Lake Temescal up in San Francisco, the Bay Area. Okay, this is Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
You think they would have the clean water technologies that would solve algae problems,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Nope. They don't.
Most tie-dye T-shirt wearing, Birkenstock
Yeah.
sandal toting. No, they don't.
There's no app for cleaning water.
That's right. So we are that killer application that can go in there and start to nutrify the lake and help provide longevity to it so that those algae blooms don't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hydrilla.
Exactly.
Once you guys have proof of concept on this,
Oh, we already got proof of concept.
well,
of
I
that.
know what I'm saying is once you have adoptable proof of concept, once you are that name that everyone recognizes,
Right.
okay,
.ect.
is the time to go international then, or do you do this all at one time?
You've got to take the university approach right now. You've got to get academia around this. .ect is a prelude, okay?
Okay.
ECT stands for Environmentally Conscious Technologies.
Okay.
It's going to be a .ect, like
Yeah.
a .org or .edu.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm part of a National Science Foundation type of panel, so we want to get involved with
Right.
organizations and getting out there and getting the word out, getting the universities, creating a movement around this. because this is something that we all need, water, right?
Right.
We all need it.
Absolutely.
The future generations and civilizations cannot exist
Not going
without
to
it.
stop using it.
Talk about the university side, though. So what is it going to take, and what do they do for you?
Well, for example, we're in conversations right now with Emory in Atlanta. We're getting introduction through some very serious people that are bringing us into Clean Tech Open to incubate our platform here. But that involves, Atlanta is the 5th dirtiest water in the nation in terms of polluted. So, there's a lot of media relationships that go through Atlanta that would benefit from exposing this through a university relationship.
But their
there.
peaches.
And
great.
LSU. A lot of this university's involved.
So do you get to the profesores, the professors, the people teaching, or do you?
Well, you're creating.
Or is it a research sort of?
You're creating case studies, white papers.
Yeah.
Nick, his brother is all about white papers. He's got 14
It's
or 15.
about publishing, right?
It's publication,
And
proving the efficacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? So you get the efficacy done, and then you're able to get insurance availability, all-risk insurance policies. You take it to a new level of saying that you get an all-risk insurance policy against this technology platform that lasts 50 to 100 years. Then you go to the next level.
Yeah.
Writing in municipalities. Third point, sanitation. Okay?
Yeah, and that's-
You're getting
and
into a
that's the-
sanitation
that's the big
aspect.
question mark.
That's how you get into the sanitation aspect, is that you prove it through the university levels. And you get that insurance risk, all insurance policy behind
Yeah.
you. Then you get the AAA banks putting guarantees behind you. Then you're doing some real infrastructure plays. So the next 100 days is about infrastructure plays, starting out with cost containment applications. We have the #1 cost containment application. It's called the hydrocatalytic converter
I've heard
application.
that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did
What the
here.
hell?
We invented it here.